Hello, everybody. Less serious, a little bit of a less serious topic than obviously when we talked about JRC the other night, I think. We are going to be talking about Activision Blizzard. And a lot of you guys know that I actually covered this topic months ago before this new debacle unraveled. So I've got a lot of sources open here. And I also just want to start by giving a thank you to Felix, the Kit Kat, who helped me collect some sources and stuff like that with what's going on, because apparently like the WoW subreddit and everything is on literal fire right now, because apparently the company doesn't actually own or like control their own subreddit. So that's a thing, apparently. Always control your own subreddit. But that's apparently not a thing. So like just hell is going loose right now. So yeah, we are going to be discussing the mess of what Activision is. I'm sure a lot of you guys are pretty aware Activision was never like a fantastic company to begin with. They've had many missteps, and I think that's putting it politely. And recently a new article came out that we're going to go over. We're also going to take a look at the lawsuit as well as a few other things too. Let's go ahead and just jump right into this. Let's go over Activision a little bit, and I don't even know what exactly we're going to get into. I know it's bad, for the record. I don't know how to say this, but like this is not for sensitive ears tonight. Okay. So let's go ahead and let's begin by talking about Activision. So they are one of the largest video game companies in the world. Their revenue can reach about $1.7 billion per quarter. So you'd multiply that by 4 to create their annual budget, I guess. So I believe we're looking at about $7 billion a year is what they make. They make an insane amount of money. And in 2019, they took a bit of a pay cut, guys. So they made $6.5 billion as opposed to $7.5 billion. You know, obviously they're struggling. And we'll get into that, because with a company that makes that much money, you'd think they'd have certain precautions and things in place to take care and foster employee growth. But as we're going to get into, it's not the case. So we're going to go ahead and start. I'm going to put this on the screen here. This is going to be the article from Bloomberg that I believe started this entire mess. So this was released on July 21st, 1:25 p.m. I promise we're not going to go through the entire legal document. I know I like to do that, but I'm going to try and shorten it because I already kind of know what's inside. I already thought they were bad. I didn't know they could get much worse, but they can. So let's go ahead and just over this, just the basics here. So as you can see from the title, it says Activision Blizzard is sued over frat boy culture and harassment. They make World of Warcraft, Diablo, a bunch of stuff. So apparently their big thing is they foster a frat boy culture. I'm in my head right now, I'm thinking we're like Wolf on Wall Street type environment, if you guys have seen the movie. That's what I'm thinking. The culture is in which female employees are subjected to constant sexual harassment, unequal pay, and retaliation, according to a lawsuit filed by the California Department of Fair Employment and Housing, which that's what we're going to be going over today. This is after a 2-year-long investigation by the state agency. They found that the company discriminated against female employees. So this means they went through the investigation and these are the results, right? So they have determined that these are in fact factual statements. Okay. So they found that the company discriminated against female employees in terms and conditions of employment, including compensation, assignment, promotion, and termination. Company leadership consistently failed to take steps to prevent discrimination, harassment, retaliation. So apparently female employees make up about 20% of Activision workforce, which is more than what I thought it was. And those that are there, that 20%, are subjected to a pervasive frat boy workplace culture, including cube crawls, in which male employees drink copious amounts of alcohol as they drag their way through various cubicles in the office and often engage in inappropriate behavior towards female employees. This is like the start of this. So female employees allege being held back from promotions because of the possibility they might become pregnant, being criticized for leaving to pick their children up from daycare, and being kicked out of lactation rooms so male colleagues could use the rooms for meetings. Female employees working for the World of Warcraft team in particular have noted that male employees and supervisors would hit on them, make derogatory statements about rape, and otherwise engage in demeaning behavior. The suit also points to a female Activision employee who took her life on a company trip with her male supervisor. The employee had been subjected to intense sexual harassment prior to her death, including having nude photos passed around at a company holiday party. This is the baseline for what we're talking about today. This is extremely serious stuff. So this graphic is specifically from the lawsuit, and we will get into it, but I specifically want to bring up this in relation to that female employee. So right here it says, in a tragic example of the harassment that defendants allowed to fester in their offices, a female employee committed suicide while on a company trip due to a sexual relationship that she had been having with her male supervisor. The male supervisor was found by police to have brought a butt plug and lubricant on this business trip. Another employee confirmed that the deceased female employee may have been suffering from other sexual harassment at work prior to her death. Specifically, at a holiday party before her death, male coworkers were alleged to be passing around a picture of the deceased vagina. I'm hoping this sets the tone for today. Like, she killed herself on that trip, and that male supervisor in question had brought sex toys with him. What the fuck? I don't know how else to say that. I'm gonna gouge my literal fucking eyes out already. And this is like, and we've already talked about Activision and Blizzard, right? We've already talked about their various changes in structures, the issues that they had as a company. We talked about what happened in China. We've talked about how they've tried to like add real ID and stuff to their games, and the many disputes that they've had along the way with multiple smaller animation companies and stuff like that, and how this attitude, this environment, this gross, I don't even know what to call this, really. But to actually have an employee commit suicide during a trip, and they were accompanied with one of their apparent harassers. One of the things I mentioned at the end of my first episode, at the end, one of the last things I said before wrapping up and getting to the conclusion was about the lawsuit, how the company is being investigated for discrimination, and that the EEOC came in, or the Equal Employment Opportunity, whatever, committee, whatever, asking Activision Blizzard to fill out a survey, and that their investigation was in regard to allegations of gender-based discrimination and sexual harassment. And I did say that at the time, just because they're there, it doesn't mean there's been a violation of the law, but that given their history, that I wasn't hopeful. I can now officially say that I can confirm that I was in fact right to not be hopeful. Not when this kind of shit is inside a lawsuit. And at the time I said this was all alleged. Now we have the documents. Now it's changed. So here we are. Here we absolutely fucking are. So I just want to show you this. We will get into the actual lawsuit. I'll probably glance over this and kind of skip through it because there's a lot in this lawsuit. It's like 30 or 40 pages long. It's huge. That's a big lawsuit to go through. Some of these lawsuits, when we look at MLMs and stuff, we're looking at maybe, 15 pages, 20 pages, and that's stomachable for the most part, but we are in a long lawsuit. So there's a lot to go over here. So I just wanted to show you this. We will probably, unfortunately, have to return to this type of topic in just a moment. So the agency, the EEOC, is seeking an injunction forcing compliance with workplace protections, as well as unpaid wages, pay adjustments, back pay, and lost wages and benefits for female employees. So a spokesperson for Activision Blizzard said, "We value diversity and strive to foster a workplace that offers inclusivity to everyone. There is no place in our company or industry or any industry for sexual misconduct or harassment of any kind. They say we take every allegation seriously and investigate all claims. In cases related to misconduct, action was taken to address the issue." Now, keeping in mind what I just told you, I think that statement falls on deaf ears for many, many people right now. That is probably, if it was something like, I don't even know what, something minor, but what is minor at this point? It's hard to even speculate over that when we're talking about someone who literally killed themselves on a work trip. The basis of the lawsuit, it's really nice. It's summarized here, although we will go into it. So employee discrimination because of sex, retaliation, a failure to prevent discrimination and harassment and unequal pay. The relief that they are seeking in the lawsuit is compensatory damages, punitive damages, unpaid wages, injunctive relief, declaratory relief, equitable relief, prejudgment interest, and attorney's fees and costs. I don't think that's really unheard of in this type of lawsuit. I think this is pretty standard fare. Now, before we get into the lawsuit again, I'm going to go over just a couple other details, other articles, other things that we're going to discuss, and then I will get into this lawsuit. So let me go ahead. I'm just going to leave this on the back burner because this right here is the link to the lawsuit. So let's go over this other one. This is from Kotaku. So this is a Activision boss loses a legal battle over sexual harassment. And this was made, by the way, if you want to look at that date there, 8/3 2010, as in 2010. This is 12 years ago, just because I want to show you guys there is a bit of a pattern happening here. Activision boss Bobby Kotick, which we have talked about him in the first video, has lost a legal stoush, whatever, with renowned lawyer Patricia Glosser over a 2007 sexual harassment case involving Kotick's private jet and one of his former flight attendants. So he's literally harassing his own flight attendants, and he lost this case, okay? It was alleged by Cynthia Madvig, a former flight attendant on the jet, that in 2006, Berg pressured her into being his arm candy. In other words, a public escort, someone to join him at dinner parties and the like. Madvig declined, at which Berg allegedly set out to make life miserable for her, including one instance where she says he made her clean the plane's toilet while he stood there leering at her. Madvig told this to Gordon, who did nothing, and 2 months after reporting the incident, Kotick fired her, saying guys are unhappy with the hostile environment. So this was followed by a lengthy court battle where, who accused them of, among other things, sexual harassment, wrongful termination, failure to prevent sexual harassment, but one of their former law firms as well, following a dispute over Glasser's team over legal fees. So they ended up suing each other back and forth, I guess. Obviously, the guy, Kotick, is suing because I guess he thought the legal fees were too much, so he's making more legal fees, and she's over here suing for sexual harassment, wrongful termination, and failure to prevent sexual harassment. That's an uncomfortable theme we're going to be revisiting today, isn't it? It is really important that employers have a responsibility to control the culture of their workplace and to take reports of misconduct seriously. Things like this don't happen if the employers care, and this is absolutely correct. When you have a workplace environment that actually cares about their employees and what's going on in their employees' lives while they're in their workplace, I do believe that these types of situations are either nipped in the bud if they're even starting to happen or don't happen at all. Obviously, as we're going to continue on, this is a pattern. This is a gross, gross pattern. Let's take a look at Jeffrey Epstein's little black book. How Bobby Kotick was inside Jeffrey Epstein's little black book. So this is from July 9th, 2019. Hopefully it's nice and big for you guys. Jeffrey Epstein's little black book has an entry for Bobby Kotick with an Activision email address. Yeah, of course Epstein's going to be involved. So naturally, none of us are surprised. It's gross, but I don't think we are surprised. So apparently, yeah, I think I remember seeing this article years ago. This is January 23rd, 2015. The point is, somewhere in this 92 fucking pages of Jeffrey Epstein's little black book is Bobby Kotick's name and an email that is an Activision email address. Let's go ahead and take a look at this next bit. This is another piece from the lawsuit that's screenshotted out for me, just to make this easier to kind of get through, because I definitely want to get through this. This is going to be an excerpt about how the senior creative director's suite at Activision Blizzard is being referred to as the Cosby suite. Now, Cosby may have gotten out of prison, but that doesn't, in my eyes, exonerate him of guilt. I think Cosby is still totally fucking guilty. Sorry, this is a ton of fucking text, and it's a little bit cut off. I don't really know how to appease the system otherwise, but we'll just skip right here to this point. Afrazabi, I don't know how to say his name, was known to engage in harassment of females, that his suite was nicknamed the Crosby Suite after alleged rapist Bill Crosby. He would also call females derogatory names at company events. His conduct was known to Blizzard Entertainment executives who took no effective remedial measures. J. Allen Brack, president of Blizzard Entertainment, allegedly had multiple conversations with him about his drinking and that he had been too friendly towards female employees at company events, but gave him a slap on the wrist, i.e. verbal counseling, in response to the incidents. Subsequently, he continued to make these unwanted advances toward female employees, including grabbing a female employee's hand and inviting her to his hotel room and then groping another woman. I think this is pretty fucking clear. So this 48 is that cutout about the death. A little bit about where Bobby Kotick's name has been, and I think now it's time to return to this guy. Or is it this one? And let's go ahead and open up the lawsuit and let's take a look at some details at the filing. So this lawsuit is how many pages in length? This is a 29-page lawsuit. This is very long for a lawsuit. I'm going to try and just kind of pull through some aspects with this so that it's not entirely boring, because I know lawsuits can be very fucking tedious to go through. And of course, the usual disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer. I just have read these way too many times, so I know the general format. So let's keep it going. So this case is obviously the Department of Fair Employment and Housing, an agency of the state of California, as the plaintiff, and they are suing Activision Blizzard, Blizzard Entertainment, and Activision Publishing Incorporated, and it does 1 through 10 exclusive. And they are demanding a jury trial over these issues. This is the introduction, and in the introduction is usually where they give you the general detail about this company before getting into it. So they're talking about how they were formed in the 70s. They're a big company. They're headquartered in Santa Monica, California. They have all these employees and 100 million players worldwide, but that's going to fucking drop. And they're on the Fortune 500 and S&P 500, all these kinds of things. So Activision Blizzard also operates global esports organizations, Overwatch League and Call of Duty League. The video game franchise Call of Duty is Activision's publishing's key product. Blizzard Entertainment maintains the online gaming service Battle.net and includes key franchises such as World of Warcraft, Diablo, and Overwatch. Unlike its customer base of increasingly diverse players, defendants' workforce is only about 20% women. Its top leadership is also exclusively male and white. The CEO and president roles are now and have always been held by white men. Very few women ever reach top roles in the company. The women who do reach higher roles earn less salary, incentive pay, and total compensation than their male peers, as evidenced in the defendant's own records. And this is the example of that. How much was Bobby Kotick paid? Looks like he took a pay cut in 2020, guys. In 2019 and 2018, he was paid $1.7 million, and in 2020, he was only paid $1.494 million, guys. It's very sad, very tragic. Daniel Agier, Chief Operating Officer, just over $1 million. Dennis Durkin, Executive Advisor, $906,000. Claudine Naughton, which is the Chief People Officer, this looks like the only girl on the list, $655,000 in 2020. 2019, $250,000. Now, this is still a lot of money for the record, right? But let's take a look at, so 2019, Claudine, $250,000, okay? 2019, Dennis Durkin, $901,000. Robert Kotick, $1.7 million. Bit of a difference. In 2020, when Claudine has now been there for 2 years, so now she has longevity of being there for 2 years as an employee, she gets a big pay raise, and now she's getting paid $655,000, right? But now underneath, Chris B. Walther, which I assume is someone who's below her in terms of hierarchy, ranking in the upper echelon of the company, this guy, Chris, who's been here since 2020, not since 2019, $852,000. He makes $200,000 more than Claudine, who's been there for 2 years. So just this little snippet alone, these 3 lines are very telling. And then you compare to how their pay raises, except for Robert Kotick, looks like he went down a little bit, but everyone else goes up significantly higher than this girl.